Right, back live with you tonight. The Department of Employment and Labour has increased the minimum wage for farm workers and domestic workers by 9.6%. The increase takes effect on the 1st of March. The pay hike also covers workers in the expanded public works program, the cleaning, wholesale and retail sectors. This increase translates to 25 Rand 42 cents per hour for farm and domestic workers and 13 Rand 97 cents for other sectors. For more on this, we are now joined by Richard Njenjwa, the organizer for the South African Domestic Service and Allied Workers Union. Richard, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time today. Talk to me about how, as the South African Domestic Service and Allied Workers Union are receiving this news of this adjustment that is in consideration of the inflation and the cost of living.
Good evening, Thabo, and good evening, the viewers. Yes, as a Domestic Workers Union, they are appreciating this news of minimum wage, although they are not much happy because these laws of new laws of minimum wage is just on the paper. Most of the employers, they don't comply to the laws, whereby most of the employers, they don't even pay the minimum wage. And so because of that, domestic workers are not happy with that, and we would like Department of Labour to help us to enforce the law, because this is on the paper.
Yeah. Recently, a meeting was held with stakeholders. I think it was at the beginning of the year, 31st of January, if I'm to be exact, where stakeholders were gathered to express exactly what you're saying, this degree of non-compliance by employers as far as labor legislation is concerned. Is there something tangible that came out of that meeting, you think, as far as ensuring that the enforcement services and the labor inspectors are actually on the ground doing their work?
For now, there is no any change since this law just being amended just now. So there is no change at all, and we are pleading for Department of Labour to work on the inspectors so that at least if they can do inspection to the employers, because that is our most problem in our union. Most of the employers doesn't comply to the laws.
Yeah, and what are your suggestions? How should they deal with this crisis?
I think the best way is to talk with the Department of Labour so that they must think about us, because they are the only people who can enforce the law.
The big issue also around this proposal of the minimum wage is the negotiation of the hours and how those hours are adjusted. What was the resolution on that?
I think we need sometimes to sit with the employers so that we must negotiate with Department of Labour, because most of the laws, when they are changed, they don't consult us. They don't come to us as a union. So we are pleading for the employers and the Department of Labour to come together so that they must sometimes call us when they are amending these laws. Yeah. I think that can be helpful.
The other issue then is the cost of living. I mean, how do the domestic workers feel, for example, about the adjustments to the cost of electricity?
That's true, Thabo. Most of the domestic workers, they are really complaining about this minimum wage, looking forward to how the economy of South Africa is falling. So even though they increased with 25%, then it's the same. Like when you get that money, 4,000, let's say more or less 5,000 rand, it's still little amount of money, whereby they cannot survive with that money. Find out that most of the domestic workers, they've got families and they are single parents.
Yeah. So how would the workers be cushioned here? I mean, with everything kind of going up, taxi fares going up, food going up, electricity going up, what do they believe is the way of being able to be cushioned here?
I think the best way, most of the workers, they say the best way is to use the unions, because on their own they cannot fight for this. So as a union, we are pleading for all the domestic workers to come to us so that we can fight this together.
So you believe the voice of the union is being heard by government?
Yes. We have been fighting, and the government have been hearing our voices. We have been fighting, as you heard about COIDA, Composition Fund for Domestic Workers. As domestic workers, we didn't have COIDA. So we fought until government heard us, until they amend this law. Although they are still fighting, they are still fixing here and there.
All right, that's fantastic. Richard, much appreciated, and thank you very much for coming on. That is Richard Njenjwa, organizer for the South African Domestic Service and Allied Workers Union, on receiving the news of the adjustment that has been made to the minimum wage.